All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 5 of Star Trek Drake, a Star Trek Adventures actual play following the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. I am ELH, the Game Master, and joining me are some lovely individuals. The only announcement I have is that if this is the first time you're watching Drake, stop, go back and watch the other 4 sessions, especially session 4, and then come back, because otherwise you're going to miss a lot of the cool cliffhanger stuff we're doing that we left off on last week. So there's your preemptive warning. But that's all I really have to say. Let's quickly do introductions and let's jump right back into play. So, Peter, you're up first.
Hey everyone, I'm Peter, or Petrus Aquinas online. I generally play Captain Thalen, the captain of the Drake. Right now, I am playing Ensign Daniel, the archaeologist on the OAT.
You're a spy. You're up next.
I'm your spy. I play the ship's chief engineer, Lieutenant Commander A.C. Chatham.
Then Jeff.
I'm Jeff, also known as Sunbay. I play Commander Tucker Cole, the human XO. Don't demote me. I like the rank of commander.
We'll just, one of these days, you'll get like stuck in a loop and we'll just never correct you. And then, it's just going to continually keep going. I'm getting into the weeds. And last but not least, we have Dr. Nemesis, or Randy.
Hey everybody, I'm Randy, also known as Dr. Nemesis, and I'm playing the Chief Medical Officer of the Drake, Dr. Early Langerhausen.
So, as we start to resume and we start to view our intrepid away team on the frozen planet of Tango 4, we see them descending down a lift into the darkness. And I believe the good Commander Cole is going to do a in media race log for us. So, take it away, Sunbay.
Commander Tucker, away team log supplemental. From bad to worse. It started as a typical check on the archaeological research team on planet Tyndall 4, typical enough except for the plague that was reported at the same time the research team lost contact. The initial clearance of the research station went smoothly. We found 2 members killed and rescued a third who's recovering in the station's medbay. Then the floating eggs appeared. Human-sized floating eggs with rapid-fire Gatling guns. It appeared these are what put the research team out of action. It appears the research team found some type of ancient artifact and disturbed it. Then that caused the plague, released the eggs, or both. Oh, and there's a potential AI on the loose. So as we searched a path to find a path to the eggs, AC found an elevator that we're currently in. Found that at the back of the station's reactor room. It goes 100 meters below the surface of the planet to what we believe is the source of the floating eggs of doom. Delete the source of floating eggs of doom. Add the source of the troubles.
Well, head commander, we got to call him something.
Yeah, deviled eggs. Be deviled eggs. Be deviled eggs.
No.
I like what you're thinking.
We got a little bit of time.
So, as you continue down in the lift, you maybe wait. It's one of those awkward moments where it's like 1 to 2 minutes after the log where you're just kind of like looking around, looking at your instruments. But eventually you begin to see that there's a light coming up towards you at a moderate pace. Not rapid, not slow, just a moderate pace. And eventually, the lift comes to the very bottom, stops, and the doors open, and there's kind of a hissing sound. And what you see on the other side is a circular tunnel that has been carved into the ice, because remember, Tango 4 is a frozen over, almost Class L world that is literally an ice ball kind of a thing. But what you're seeing in this circular tunnel of ice is a row of Starfleet issue lights that have been punched, that's the word I want, punched into the ceiling, and they're still sort of flickering, still sort of giving that ominous vibe. But since you're all in EV suits, you would also note that the faceplates of all of your suits are frosting up just a little bit. You can still see fine. There's not really any hindrance. It's a lot colder down here, is what I'm getting at. But what you're seeing is at the other side of this circular tunnel that you have opened up into is there are 3 doors. And you also see that the ice does give way to what appears to be a metal or a plastic. You're not really sure at this distance, but it definitely gives way to some sort of a structure. And what you're noticing is as you step out of the lift, I'll give this to you free, is that one of the doors, the one directly ahead of you, and then we'll say there's another door to the northwest and to the northeast. You're noticing that the door to the directly north is currently open and looks like it leads to another elevator. And then the northeast and the northwest doors, from what you can tell currently, those are closed. Now, if there's a console to enter into those, you don't know. You would have to proceed into the outpost to find out more.
I got a bad feeling about this, boys.
Yeah, I do too.
Me
So
both.
the Starfleet lights that are punched in the ice, it looks like it's going down the passageway due north.
Correct.
I wish to, if at all possible, employ my well-informed talent, which link it here. You have context everywhere and you listen for. At the start of a scene, you may add one threat to ask the game master 2 questions about the situation or location, as if you had spent momentum on the obtain information spent.
Yep.
Well, it'll be knowledge I've gained from rumors. I don't know that the questions I had in mind would really be rumors.
Yeah, that's kind of the limiting factor here.
Let's just, we'll hold off for that. I'm sure there's a more useful time for that to come up.
Holding off. But now that you mention it, I believe our good ensign might have some insights. Why don't you roll me some insight and science there, Peter? I'm going to make this a difficulty of 3. And after accounting for chat, you do have 5 momentum, and I have 2 complications saved up. So that's fun.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Well, I will let you at least use 1 momentum to add 1 more die,
All right.
just because of my tendency for complications.
And your archaeology focus would apply.
Excellent.
All right, well, there you go. That's a good omen. Starting with 4 successes, getting that momentum right back. So what you're noticing is that, remember how I said that there was writing you couldn't decode back up in the main outpost? You're seeing more writing on the facility that is past the ice part of the cave. And when you run your tricorder over it, it's enough that you're able to finally read what it all says. And what you're seeing is that apparently you are on floor 3 of what might be called a general store.
Commander, we just managed to get a little bit of a translation from this. We appear to be on level 3 of a store, a general store of some sort. I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at here yet, but it's something.
Well, I'll be.
Makes sense if you have some type of underground city that have to have some type of mercantile system.
Perhaps. Then again, a general store seems like a strange thing to have armed drones guarding.
No, it's security, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, if the society buried itself in the midst of a civil war, say, then perhaps they were worried about citizens getting agitated and needed to protect supplies to make sure they lasted for a while. It's possible.
Pretty harsh penalty for shoplifting in this culture. Huh.
Well, I mean, we don't know anything about the culture quite yet, but it's a hypothesis.
Look back on Earth's history when resources got extremely scarce after some of the major wars, people turned on each other.
Precisely.
Not our finest hour.
No, and the type of behavior we see is not just been limited to us. So, all right. AC, can you do a quick check on these other 2 doors? Can we open them if we need to? Are they locked up? Don't want to open them just yet.
Let's take a look.
Can
All right.
we lock them from this end?
So, real quick question. Are you actually interfacing with your engineering tricorder, or are you just looking for like a panel or some form of interface without using your tricorder?
I'm going to use my tricorder because use the tools that we have and all that.
All right. Very distinctive thing I had to ask. So go ahead and roll me a insight and engineering, difficulty of 3, and you still have 5 momentum.
Yep, I'm going to spend 2 momentum because 3 momentum because I don't want to fail.
All right, so that'll give you 2 additional dice.
And I figure computers or power systems works here.
Would both apply. Survey says.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take it. That's 3 successes. That's all you need. So, the left door, the northwest door, is without power, and you could probably, based on the fact that there's working lights, based on the outpost from up above, you could probably run a physical wire and open up the door that way. But there's, unlike a Starfleet door, this alien vault door is very much, shall we say, it doesn't have the same manual release is how I want to say it. Now the other door, and this is where I think I sort of skipped a little bit when I ended the session last time. This is where you have the big imposing vault door, like a stereotypical Fallout vault door, and you can open it. But there is, I mean, you would notice because you interface with the AI up above, there is an active program running that resists your efforts to gain control of the door, if that makes sense.
Well, sir, it looks like I can get I can get this main door open, and we could probably power up this door here. But this main door, the same AI or the same kind of opposing force that was giving me trouble upstairs would give me the same trouble here. But that one looks the most promising, insofar as it is large and imposing.
Yeah, the door with the guard does seem to be where the interesting stuff would be.
And you don't think you could, well, if it's actively resisting you?
Oh no, I believe I could open it.
Do you think you could, if you tried to lock it, do you think the AI would just find a way to get around it real quick and unlock it? My fear is, what I'm trying to avoid is, if we go down the center passage, we have a back door open to us.
I
The
think
one door that's not powered would take extra effort to get it powered up again to open.
My bigger concern, sir, would be that the opposing force would lock the door behind us.
There's that too.
Yeah, and pump out all the air and lay eggs in our skulls.
What have you been reading?
I got a little bit of the willies from this place.
Yeah.
It wasn't very kind to the last set of scientists that tried to explore it.
No, that is true. But at least we're suited up, so when they came down, apparently they didn't take that precaution. All right. In the center pathway, how far down can we see?
About 100 meters. It seems to just go into what appears to be a smaller lift than the one that brought you down this far.
Okay, that's a smaller lift.
And again, it is an alien style lift where it's not just a box, it's more like a hexagon. So it's no longer on the Starfleet facilities power, it's on the alien facilities power.
Well,
can you tell if the research team was able to unlock the vault door? Did the Starfleet lights go that direction, or they just focused down the center path?
Can I divine that information?
You give me a momentum, I will answer that question.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So yes, it does appear that the lights that have been punched into the ceiling, they do kind of trend to the right where that big vault door is, but they don't continue through the door. Or at least if they do, obviously there's a door that you can't see through, but it's not like there's a cable that runs through a wall or anything.
And there's no dangling cut power cable that would insinuate that they opened the door, ran a cable through it, and the door closed on it.
Correct.
I think they got to the door, sir. I can't immediately tell if they gained access. I think I probably could, given my experience earlier.
Well, go ahead and see if we can open it, but we're not going to go inside just yet. we'll open, see if is there a way that we can communicate with the other side.
I can give that. I could. Is there a panel with an obvious screen, or is it just a
It's kind of like a small iPad, like the first generation iPad.
Okay.
You remember how small those were?
Mhm.
And it doesn't really like have a handprint or anything on it, but it is like if you were to touch it, it would light up kind of a thing. And there's more of that alien text, which the good ensign has only just finished deciphering.
All right.
Looks like it might be time for some applied archaeology, Ensign Carlin.
All right, do it.
Because here's what I'm thinking. My first instinct is to sneak around and find the back door in. But if we're caught going that route, it's not going to look too good. I've been trying to step away from the security side more into the command role. The more diplomatic way is to knock on the front door.
Starfleet ain't that sneaky.
We can make that effort as well. There might be a call button.
We can always do a ring the bell and run if it turns out to be overly aggressive.
A ding dong ditch, sir?
I think I lack the requisite bag.
Well, ancient Earth pranks aside, what do you make of the options we have on this device here, Ensign?
Well, I'm going to try to translate what text we see.
All right. Well, the good news is since you already translated the wall, I'm going to give this to you free. You're seeing that the alien language is telling you that a security pass is required. Now, I'm going to give you this for free. You try the ones you got from the drone, and it doesn't work.
Huh. Well, it says a security pass is required, but the ones that we have, they don't work. So we're going to have to try to find something else if we're going to try to get this door open with the system that is in place.
Well, we got two other doors we could search.
It's
At least
probably
it doesn't
worth a
say
look.
history eraser button or something. So, that's nice.
And the center pathway of the door is open going down to the elevator.
What's the worst that could happen?
Well, as
I'd prefer not
kind
to
of
answer that, Doc.
mentioned earlier, a great many things could go wrong.
Now that you said the magical horror story words, I'm going to make one of the complications be that how mean do I want to be? How mean do you want me to be? Because I can be very mean right now, or I can be somewhat mean. What would you prefer?
Bring it.
Bring it all? All right. So what happens is, you remember that door that didn't have power and the door that was locked? There's another one of those scratching of metal, like claws on metal, and it's long and prolonged. And then there's a crunching sound, and much like a cogwheel, it begins to rotate out of the way, kind of like DS9's airlock doors, I think is a good example. But it begins to rotate out of the way, and what you see on the other side is quite literally what might be a cross between a black or grizzly bear and the stereotypical Yeti. As in, it is 9 feet tall. It is large enough to easily swipe you guys with its 4 paws. Actually, let's make it a little bit more alien with its 6 paws. And its face has 2 sets of eyes, so it has 4 eyes total. And its maw is just dripping with this green liquid. And you notice that when the green liquid falls to the floor, there's a slight sizzling sound.
Yeah, Doctor, this is worse.
And before we go into initiative, what I would say is, good ensign, when you look at that other door, you see that it is labeled livestock above it.
Oh no.
But yeah, so the good news is that, again, it is players get to act first. So which one of you would care to go first?
It should definitely not be me, because if someone ends up with an organ ripped out of them, I would be the one to help with that.
I'll go ahead and I'll start it off. The sounds it's making aren't intelligible. It's clearly a beast.
Clearly a beast, yeah. Also, Your microphone's up, just in case you didn't know. There you go.
Better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Open fire.
Open fire. All right, that's a control security difficulty of 2.
Well, there goes my plan to offer it a honeypot.
And we will give you a threat so I can activate bold security.
Okay.
All right.
And that'll give me 3 dice.
All right, well, you got 3 successes, so you get momentum up for your trouble. And since you have bold security, you could re-roll one of those die.
Let's re-roll the 12. Just 1.
All right, that gets you 5 total successes, bringing your total momentum up to 4. Very nice. And then, yeah, it should be 3 plus your security score, which I believe is 8.
My mouse is being slow today.
All right. Okay, so again, I'll give this to you free, but moving forward, you guys got to declare it. What would you have charged if you were going to charge? Would you make it piercing? Okay. In that case, since you did do piercing, you level a shot at the spider yeti thing and fire off a shot, and you hit it right between the 4 eyes, and it just goes to the ground. It's still alive, but it is out.
So there's still a gap where it came out,
Yes.
and no other sounds right now.
At the moment, no.
Okay.
Hot dang, sir. Good shot.
Practice on the range. Let's take a quick peek in there before this thing wakes up and move down the center pathway.
All right, so when you poke your head inside, what you see is a combination between an overgrown sort of like cow pasture and what was probably at one point a food distribution center. What I mean by that is that, I don't know if you've ever played the Resident Evil games, but it's kind of one of those things where you're just seeing rows upon rows of rotten fruits and decayed vegetables and spoiled meat. In fact, you're pretty much sure that if you weren't in an environmental suit, you would be overwhelmed by the smell. Like, it's that bad. But you also see that there are several other smaller corpses of the same type of creature you just stunned. They have been somewhat consumed by this larger creature, if you catch my drift.
I'm just glad that we're in these environments so we don't smell what's inside there. Rotten
Looks like we
food.
found their compost heap.
Yeah.
The label on the door is well, above the door. It's livestock. So yes.
Huh.
Everything in that state of decomposition. Yeah. Definitely something wrong. And let's start moving down to the center pathway then.
Well, I mean, the critter still seems to be alive, sir. I don't know if it's going to get up in a minute.
Would you like to scan it with your tricorder?
Yes, I think I would.
Give me a reason medicine difficulty of 2.
Reason medicine difficulty. And let's see. Honestly, I don't really have a focus that would apply here. C'est la vie.
See what happens. All right, that's only 1 success, so I will offer you a compromise. You can succeed, but there will be a complication, or you can just simply fail. Entirely up to you.
Let's do the complication. That sounds exciting.
All right. So when you scan this creature, you immediately realize it's not a creature, it's a robot. It's like a mechanical facsimile of a creature. And the complication, unfortunately, is that when you do that scan, you see that information, and then your tricorder bursts into flames.
Oh! I dropped my tricorder.
Yeah. And your tricorder falls and sparks, and after a few seconds is defunct.
Bad news, incendiary news, sir.
I saw. Did it attack?
That's not a life form, sir. It's a animatronic robotic creation, like a well, like in a museum where you're just trying to approximate a creature.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a venomous, dangerous robot. Maybe AC, you could tell us whether or not it's totally shut down.
Whatever precautions you need to take with your tricorder.
I was actually just about to ask, do I think that something caused his tricorder to burst into flames, or that it was simply but it was simply lowest bidder engineering?
The former, I would say.
Lower bidder.
I will be the fool and attempt to use my tricorder to find out to see if this thing is still active.
All right. In that case, you remember how we did an opposed check with the AI beforehand? Same thing here. The base difficulty is a 2, but you essentially can spend as many momentum and threat as you want to set the difficulty for your opposing force. Just remember that's based on your successes at the end of the day, as long as you have 2 or more.
What stats would you like?
I would say this would be a daring and engineering.
Great.
Makes sense.
I will spend, once again, 3 momentum to roll 2 more dice.
All right. There you go. That's 5 successes. Very nice. So you actually get, as long as the AI doesn't roll 5 successes, you're going to get 3 momentum back. So let's see. I think the AI has to pretty much crit on all its dice, but we'll roll it anyway.
It could.
It could, yeah. It's possible. Let's see. What did it roll? It rolled a 5, an 8, and a okay. Yeah. This is an interesting situation where technically it also achieved 5 successes. So I think the same thing's going to happen where you're going to succeed, but it's going to be at the cost of your tricorder, unfortunately.
Oh.
We don't learn too fast.
Yeah. No, like I just rolled really good there. Like that is an amazing roll looking at what it rolled. So what you learn is that there is a sort of a safety switch in this animatronics neck location where if you kind of pop open the back of the skull or the back of the neck, the nape, if you open that up and kind of turn the handle, the thing will turn off, but otherwise it looks like it's going to power back up in the next 10 minutes. That's when your tricorder also bursts into flames, and whatever you do with it at that point is up to you.
Calmly set it on the ground and then go turn the Yeti off.
Okay. No roll.
Just before you.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Just before you turn it off, AC, I want to say one thing to the robot. We're from the USS Drake, a Starfleet vessel, here to rescue the research team. We don't know exactly what happened before, but we are here in peace to gain understanding and to help if needed. We are not meant. Go ahead.
Roll me a presence and a command, difficulty of 3.
Would negotiation diplomacy help?
It would give you that, yeah. And you do have a momentum if you want a 3rd die.
And if you want more, I can wish to discover things.
Okay, so that's real quick. That is the thing. Your determination has not recharged yet. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Yes.
I don't have any.
Command.
Theoretically, Ensign Carlin could assist, though, right?
You could still assist, yeah.
Yeah, I can assist.
Or like having insight into this culture or something.
Yeah, something along those lines.
I could. I don't think I have any insight yet, but
Do you think my determination or my value of respect must be earned?
You're going to have to sell it to me. Like, I think I see an argument where you're going to have to sell it to me.
already I've taken out an egg and their security drone real quick. So respect through strength, trying to earn it that way, becoming open hand and willing to talk.
I'll let it happen. Yeah. So I'm assuming you want to spend it for 2 free successes to start.
2 free successes to start, and that way I don't need to burn the momentum.
That you know of.
That I know of. That is true. But if I try to do the momentum, that'd have to give you
2
threat on top of that. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Momentum will give you 2 threat for a 3rd die.
All right. Also, don't worry about threat tracking. I'm using that for complications I have sorted out.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're good. All right, that's 4 successes. And in fact, you get a momentum back for your troubles. So the bear spider yeti thing doesn't reply, but from the northern passageway, you begin to hear the sound of what might be a young boy crying or sniffling. You're not really sure, but you are very sure that it is coming from that northern passageway where that other lift leads, supposedly.
All right.
It's audible to all of you, and what you make of that is, well, up to you.
We weren't aware of there being any children at this outpost, though, right?
That you're aware of.
Okay.
I
I don't think that's Starfleet personnel crying, but it does sound like someone's in distress, sir.
All right. I'm not AC. Go ahead and hit the switch. I have veteran,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to re-roll. I'm going to roll a challenge die and hopefully get an effect to get my value back.
That is correct, yes. Veteran is one of those amazing talents that works in a pinch. And no dice,
Nope.
Unfortunately.
Okay. And all right, let's go down the hallway.
So as you proceed down the hallway, you're looking to your left and right, and what you realize is about halfway down the hallway, the walls turn transparent, and you're able to see beyond into the ice itself. And what you're seeing is that there is a vaguely diamond-shaped prism that you are in right now. So you're kind of seeing lower levels are getting larger and larger until it gets to the middle, and then they start to taper down. Same thing going up. So you're on level 3, meaning that there's 2 levels above you, so it kind of tapers up. And what you're also seeing is that when you get to the alien lift, there are currently 3 lights active on this elevator. One is the level you're already on, level 3, which is the general store. You see that the layer below you is the medical bay. Then you see the layer above you is labeled security. And then the one above that, the top floor, is control center. And then you've got below you, below the medical bay, you have residential suites, library and classrooms, recreation, hydroponics, and then power and pumps and septic. And again, the only lights that are open right now are security, general store where you are, and medical bay.
And the sound of the crying is it
Leads
above or
you
below?
to a back panel of this alien elevator, again, that hexagonal shape. And I would say if anybody who would care to, see if we can get you guys some momentum, anybody who wants to, go ahead and roll me a insight and a con. And I would set this at a difficulty of 0, but only one of you can roll, so make sure you choose who's doing the rolling correctly.
I'll leave it to somebody who hasn't exploded their only gear so far.
That would be me or the commander. So
I'm a 7-3.
That
For-
sounds great.
insight con, I'm
Yeah.
11-2.
Oh,
So we're about-
there you go.
So
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm 11. I'm 11-3. I was looking
well, then
wrong
you're
number.
better.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, insight 7. I'm 7-3. You take it.
Okay, got it.
And also, Peter, after you make this roll, go ahead and upgrade our lovely ensign a little bit. Give him a talent, a focus, a value, whatever you want to give him. All right, well, you get 1 momentum for your troubles. And yeah, you realize that as you follow the source of the sound and you pop open the panel, there is another one of those iPad-sized devices inside, and alien script is written across it. And when you read it, the crying of the boy cuts off. And instead, what you're seeing is the words, please, please, you have to kill us. We're danger, we're monsters, you must destroy us, please. And then, as you relay this to everybody else, you see that the alien text wipes away, and for a moment you see the picture of what might be a young humanoid boy in kind of rags and scraps of leather, things of that nature. And you see this boy kind of look at the camera, as it were, and there's obvious fear on his face. And because this was a low budget episode, he looks more human than he really should. Like maybe he has just a little bit of a, yeah, like maybe just a little bit of a forehead ridge, or maybe just a little bit of a larger eye. You know, obviously the costume department wasn't going all out for this one. But that image of the boy changes to what appears to be a overhead shot of 4 surgical tables, and on those surgical tables are the missing outpost personnel.
And these aren't Starfleet surgical tables. These are alien tech like everything else, right?
Correct, yes. And you see that for about 10 seconds, and then the entire panel shuts off.
Was the Vulcan Patal one of the ones we saw?
Yes.
Okay, cool. This whole time I've been worried that guy's like stalking us and is going to like jump out and hit us with a, well, I was thinking like a fire axe, like The Shining, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I still do have the one complication save, so.
It was a still image. They're all after us.
I mean, yeah, he's a Vulcan. He's like, here's
a stored still image.
Well, that was the most horrible thing I've seen in a long time. What did the message say, Ensign?
It said to kill them. That
Why would we want to do
monsters? I'm not entirely sure what that means. Perhaps.
Did it say kill them or kill us?
Kill us.
Us?
Not us. It was a self-referential.
Right.
Okay.
In the first person, as it were, in whatever the equivalent is of their language.
Yes.
I don't like that option either, but.
Well, I mean, that does give us a lot of insight into what's going on here. Obviously, something ain't right. They ain't happy with their situation either. Monsters, really?
Is it still transmitting?
Is the tablet still transmitting? No.
No, it's gone out.
It turned off.
All right. That was the medical bay that we saw?
It is a alien medical bay, so yes, one of the levels that we have access to.
And I can confirm, sir, one of them was Patal, the Vulcan who went off his rocker. I think that's everybody's missing, accounted for.
First priority is to get our personnel back.
Absolutely.
All right. Any idea how we make this go down? Yeah,
Well, I hope it don't involve tricorders.
Was there anything special on their heads or their bodies? Are they like physically connected to these surgical beds, or was there any kind of like a cortical stimulator type of thing or anything like that was obvious?
I would say obvious, no, based on that quick 10-second snippet, which was kind of staticky and, shorting out, classic horror trope. You only got like a very brief glimpse, and what you could tell, nothing obvious.
So no like blatantly obvious like headgear.
It's not like aliens. Correct. They're not mucus stuck to the wall.
Yeah. Correct, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, because I'm baldly terrified of what's ahead of us, I think we have to push on. It could be mere minutes before one of them's in further medical danger if they're already being perhaps operated on or tended to by alien technology.
Yeah. All right. Any idea how to make this elevator go down?
Is it as simple as pushing the light for medical bay?
This is an advanced culture we're running into. It can't be that simple.
I'm going to push the button that says medical bay and see if it works.
All right. Door shuts behind you, and alien elevator music begins to play. Now you're asking yourself, ELH, what does elevator music made by an alien sound like?
The
Well,
Gorn from Ipanema.
no, I was gonna go with take like synthwave and mix it with like fusion jazz, so it's actually kind of maybe a little bit of energy to it.
Not snake jazz. Okay.
No, not quite. Not quite. Close though.
Human music. Okay.
Not as advanced.
That is surprisingly catchy. I record some of it on my comm badge for later. See if I can't loop it.
There you go.
All right. So I'm sure I ain't got to say this to none of y'all, but just so I did say it, keep in mind that alien medical technology, even if it's applied with a beneficial mindset, could be incredibly deleterious to your health. So, just keep in mind, try not to touch anything in the alien med bay, because it seems like it may not be functioning at 100%. And what might have been a tasty antibiotic or even like, Viagra from them could make our heads explode. So
That's a lovely image, Doctor.
Good to know, Doc.
Fusion jazz goes for about another 30 seconds, and then the door opens. And
altruistic is the word I was trying to think of.
there you go. But yeah, as the fusion jazz cuts out and the door opens, what you see on the other side is a medical bay of some sort, but it's kind of segmented. So directly in front of the elevator where you're stepping out into is kind of like a small reception area. And it's almost, again, the costuming department was low budget. So they basically just took like a doctor's office like you would find in the real world, put like a desk and a receptionist chair behind it. And then there's kind of like a sealed door which leads into the clinic that's behind the reception area. And what you're seeing is that the shelves of the facility, they're half stocked. I mean, you're seeing what could be some form of a gauze, some form of a bandage. You're seeing maybe some tools like a scalpel or, things in still sterile packaging as if, they could still be technically used, as it were. But what you also see is that there are 4 beds or 4 surgical tables in the actual part of the medical bay, but there's nobody on them.
Okay. That might not have been a live feed or even a trap.
Well, now that you've said it's a trap, I'm going to spend that complication that,
It was just the wind.
well, not that. When you step out of the elevator, and I'm just going to give you the push that you step out of the elevator, because if you hide inside, that's no fun for me. Push you out of the elevator just a little bit. The elevator doors seal behind you, and the intercom that is in the medical bay begins to screech this kind of low, overlapping laughter of 1,000, 100 voices all at once.
What's so funny?
I don't think it's a joke, Doctor. I think it's more of a maniacal laughter.
Can I turn it off?
I mean, you could shoot the intercom.
Besides that, does it look like there's a mute button?
Not immediately apparent, but there is some form of a tablet that is currently at the reception desk. You could attempt to interface with that.
I'm going to walk with him to help read it.
Yeah, I would go
There
look
is a
at it.
maniacal laughter slider. I'm going to laugh.
Just goes up and down.
Maniacally.
This one
Yeah.
goes to 11.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, AC, if you want to roll an Insight Engineering, and good Ensign, you may assist with a Insight Science. Total difficulty on this is a 3. Okay, well, you got 1 assist from the Ensign. Very good.
Let's just roll it, see what happens.
See what happens. All right.
I am using my focus of computers.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Hey!
You get your 3 successes that you need. So, I mean, it's not a slider. It's not a literal slider, but yes, you can turn off the intercom without actually disabling it. But when you do so, a new voice comes over the intercom, and it's no longer the laughter, but it is still kind of like this disjointed, multiple voices speaking at once,
Mhm.
and they say, oh, how do I want to say this? Do I want to be mean? Here we go. They say, "Welcome to the medical bay. We hope you are able to treat your injuries."
I don't like the sound of that.
Hmm.
Thank you. We are also here to help you if we can.
I think it might just be the computer, but it might not be.
I might have gotten a few C's in medical school, but I'm pretty sure the best way to treat injuries is to not have them in the first place.
That's my thought. What else is on this?
Yeah,
panel?
Early wanders near one of the beds and attempts to see if it has like records of what was recently on it, like recent
Vulcan
things it did.
blood.
No, I mean like, what was your most recent patient? What were you doing to them? That kind of stuff.
And I will
okay.
obviously be helping.
Yeah. All right. Well, what I would tell you, Dr. Early, working with Ensign Daniel, you are able to determine that, yes, at one point, one of the surgical beds did have Patal on it, at least based on what the bed is feeding back in terms of data. That's a Vulcan biosignature. So you know Patal was here. He is not currently. As for AC, still interfacing with the terminal, still looking for things.
Oh, I was going to hold off since the translator just walked away.
Oh, okay. Well, let's have the good ensign bounce back and forth. That way we don't have to keep waiting. But yeah,
Ping pong ensign.
Exactly. What you're seeing though is that there does appear to be multiple feeds leading towards a central server somewhere below you, and you kind of look around after you notice that there's active feeds. You look around towards, the upper part of the room, and you're seeing multiple security cameras, multiple microphones, and they're all focused on the away team. Like they are actively adjusting to keep the away team in frame.
As an expert in computers and power systems, do I think I could introduce a feedback loop that is very similar to what it attempted to use what it used on our tricorders to blow out its access to the security systems here?
Yes. Now, what I would tell you is that this would be very difficult for you. And not only are you working with an unfamiliar alien language, you're having to basically ping pong through the ensign.
Right. Oh, I'm not planning on doing it right now. It's just a thought process in case it truly becomes necessary.
Yes. In that case, yes, it is possible, is what I would tell you.
I'm not going to voice that.
Now, the other thing you would notice, which I'll give to you for free, is that there is a button labeled Service Corridor, and you don't know what it does. It just says Service Corridor on it, and it's just a, standard tablet button.
Quick question about the medical bed that said Patal was on it.
Yes.
Does it say like what was being done? Like, did the bed have like, give this guy a blood transfusion, check him for scabies, sort of like records on it of what it was doing to him?
So I'm going to keep the stream PG-13, but they were performing an autopsy. And it wasn't a human autopsy. This was much, 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 much more brutal.
You're dissecting a frog in medical class type of deal where you're not like being super respectful of the frog and its culture.
Yeah.
Okay. There's indications in this device's memory, which I should point out from that earlier tablet. We can't trust them, but it does seem like there's indications that at least the Vulcan officer Patal was dead when he was last on this bed and being, aggressively analyzed. So it is possible we are at this point chasing after some remains more than some Starfleet personnel.
Is that
the official terminology? Personnel has become materiel.
We've gone from a rescue to a recovery.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
What about the other biobeds, Doc?
Am I able to glean further information from the biobeds? I assume by interfacing with them, because I don't have a tricorder to read them.
Yeah, what I would say is that those biobeds don't give you anything else useful, unfortunately. Only Patal was here.
That's the most I was able to figure out. Either he was the only one here, or these things have only a certain amount of records I can dig up. But they are very unfamiliar technology, so I wouldn't be surprised if I'm just pushing the wrong button.
The picture we saw on the tablet
Yes.
showed how many?
4.
4, if I ain't mistaken.
4, and we were missing 4.
Correct. That might have been a record of a previous state of this room, or it might have been fake. I mean, the artificial intelligence, if it's smart enough to go toe-to-toe with AC inside the computers, I'm sure it can generate a fake picture or even a hologram.
It could have been there at different times and just overlaid the images.
Exactly.
All right. I look at the camera, one of the cameras up there, and again, I tell it, we're here only to recover our missing Starfleet personnel. That is it. We will leave if you want us to leave. We're also willing to help and render aid if you need assistance. We have exceptionally good medical staff and facilities that we can reach back to help.
And until then, I'm here. So, yeah.
I don't want to do this. Roll me another presence command. Difficulty of 4 this time.
Can I assist with my psychiatry?
Yeah, you can assist with the presence medicine.
Because I'm trying to think of, like, the reasons that a being would want to say, I'm a monster, you have to kill me. So you said presence medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about too. And I'm going to use a bolt security again.
Okay.
And for an assist, it's 1 die, correct?
Correct, yes. All right, well, you got your 1 success. All right, well, this is one of those good news, bad news situations where you do succeed with your 4 successes, but there's a complication.
But I do have bolt security.
Oh, yeah, you do have bolt security. You could reroll that 20.
And that 20 is being rerolled.
All right. Surely it can't come up as a 20 again. That would be 1 out of 400 odds. Can't happen.
There's no way.
Can't happen. Okay, there you go. 5 successes. You get a momentum back.
Oh, right.
All right. So what's going to happen is you get a response. It's just not in the form you were expecting, like over the intercom. Instead, what you notice is that from next to where Dr. Early is working on a bed or trying to get information off of a bed, a small panel underneath the bed opens up, like slides open, and this little disc-shaped droid kind of pops out. And it starts to walk on like a tripod, and it walks over, kind of like pokes at Commander Cole's leg, and then it hops up on the desk where Lieutenant Commander AC is currently, and it points at the service corridor with one of its kind of tendrils or one of its kind of like claw things that it's standing on.
Well, looks like we can open up some service corridor.
Hi there, tiny robot spider.
His name is Tripid. Tripod. Tripid.
I assume that this thing does not appear to be malicious, AC.
Doesn't seem to be.
A lot of things around here aren't what they seem.
I have not yet been stabbed.
Fair enough.
All right.
Before I push this button, does it appear that there is an obvious service corridor, a hatch of some kind, anywhere in the room, so that at least we know where it's going to open?
Jeffrey's tube, yeah.
Roll me an insight con, difficulty of 1. Let's see if you can figure out where it might be. I'd even give you insight engineering on this one.
All right. And since this isn't a starship design would not aid me here.
Yeah, not going to help you there, unfortunately. All right, well,
yes.
Still get the 1 success. That's all you need. So yes, actually, now that you're not freaking out about being locked on the medical level, at least not as much as you were when the door closed behind you, you do see that there is kind of a space of about 2 to 3 meters between the elevator and the reception area. And if you look really, really carefully, you notice that there does appear to be a very, very faint seam on both walls in this corridor.
Sir, it looks like, and he points over there,
Well,
All
what
right.
do we make of that, gentlemen?
Are we ready?
Ready? Got
Onward,
everything we need
Christian
out here?
soldiers.
All right. Lead on, Trip It.
Punch.
All right. You push the button, and two things happen at once. First, all the power in the room cuts out, goes completely dark. But again, you're in EV suits. You're meant to see in the dark because they're meant for the space. But the other thing you notice is that the seam that you noticed in the tunnel, they begin opening up, and if you were to walk over and look in, it's a standing Jeffries tube, basically, which has more than enough room for you guys to go 2x2, but definitely not like 3x1 or 4x1. Like, you have to go 2x2 at max. And the little tripod, the little tripoid or tripit, hops down and runs into the corridor. And then, like, if you don't follow it, like, sticks its disc back out and beckons with one of its claws again and tries to get you to follow it.
What's our marching order, sir?
I'll lead. Go 2 abreast, and then AC, you pull up the rear.
Understood, sir.
You got
That
it.
way, the 2 in the middle can shoot down the flanks of the one in the lead or the one in the rear. You always have 3 guns pointing one way if need be.
Or maybe, hopefully, it just won't come to shoot.
We can hope.
Always planning. Gotta have a backup plan.
So, when you step into the service corridor, the door does seal behind you, but it's not like a sinister sealing. It's just a casual kind of like closing. If you really wanted to, you could step back out and it would stop, but as long as you don't make a run for it, the door just slowly closes. And you also hear faintly the hum of everything in the level turning back on. So it's almost like you've come into a blind spot, as it were. And in fact, as you kind of scan the surface of these Jeffries tube-like corridors, you're not seeing any listening devices. You're not seeing anything that would reveal that, someone is listening in. But the droid leads you in just far enough away from where the entrance is that you kind of go around a corner, and then it stops and turns, and it begins to speak in that boy's voice again, just the singular voice of the boy. And he says, this is the best way I can talk to you. I can't talk with them listening.
Right.
Understand? Are you in danger?
It seemed like you needed help.
I do. They are why your people are missing. You won't be angry with me, right? If I tell you where your people are?
Of course not.
No.
They may have been uploaded to the consciousness.
That's
Uh-huh.
in that you're a part of the consciousness as well and are able to separate.
I'm different than the consciousness. At least I hope I am, because otherwise I'm responsible for what's happened. That's why I asked you to kill me, because if you kill us, if you kill me, then the consciousness can't hurt anybody else.
Are you some kind of caretaker program?
No. And you can see, like, it's hard to tell because, it's a droid. It doesn't really have body language, but there's obvious hesitation in the voice where maybe if you just give the kid just a little bit of a push, he might start revealing that kind of a detail.
I'll let people who talk good do that.
What should we call you, son? I'm attempting to establish trust and rapport.
Yeah, my name. It's been a very long time. I don't remember my name.
Well, what would you like us to call you until we can remember it?
Well, based on the Starfleet databases I've had access to, I rather like the name Joe.
All right, Joe. Now, you have to understand, among our people, it's usually a sign of extreme distress for someone to ask you to kill them. So our policy is to try and see what we can do to help short of killing you first. Now, you say our people got uploaded somewhere. Can they be removed from there?
Be a presence medicine. You get your psychology focus. I'm going to spend some threat. We're going to make this a difficulty of 4. And you do have 3 momentum, and I believe your determination here to play with.
Okay.
Also,
I have a theoretically applicable talent. I'll put it in chat here.
yeah.
Am I attempting to coerce someone into taking or refraining from a specific course of action?
Yeah, actually, that would definitely apply here.
All right, so I'll use instead of command medicine. And if anybody, let's see, how many momentums do we have?
3 at the moment.
I'm going to spend 3 because to me, an alien being that's in this kind of distress is just the worst possible situation. So
All right.
I'm deeply upset by the idea of this boy thing wanting us to kill him.
Right.
So that's 4 dice.
All right. Well,
1 success and 1. Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, that is. You might
that's
want to
just
spend your determination
god-awful.
here to reroll those.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I want to spend my determination because that is just terrible. So I can reroll all of them, right?
You can reroll as many as you want. You don't have to reroll all of them. You could keep that 12. But remember, in order to do it, you got to tell me what value applies to the situation. And you might have
Everything.
multiple values.
Everything can be understood.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
I want to
Sure.
understand this person's point of view, why they want to die.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll keep the 12.
Okay.
Crap,
All
I'm
right,
still short.
so that's 3 successes. And I'll offer you a choice. You can either succeed with the complication, or the boy just isn't going to open up to you. Which would you prefer?
Definitely succeed with the complication because I
Succeed
think we
with
may
the
be able to save
complication.
him.
All right. So what's going to happen then is the boy will reply, your people were taken to the main computer room and their skulls were opened up and uploaded. I think you probably could. I'm not sure if you could return their consciousness. They're part of the whole, the main consciousness.
Oh, no.
Though I might be able to. And then the complication is it's at that moment, the most inopportune moment, that the drone shorts out and drops to the floor defunct.
Early leans against the corridor wall and just rubs his face. Oh man, is this a pickle? Sir, I'm not sure what to tell you about our people. I'm sure AC knows more than I do, but I can tell you that this, if a being is this self-destructive, it's got to be sapient or close, which means it's sort of our moral duty to try to save it.
Yes,
I agree. I have some ideas floating on my hand. In my head, we can float with AC later. But when he said they opened their skulls and uploaded them to the consciousness, is there any coming back from that?
Well, there's a
Based on
couple
what
of
we've
things
seen
to
of the
keep in mind.
technology, I wouldn't think so. But Commander AC, you may be able to find out more when we see the technology, but
Yeah.
based on what I'm seeing and based on other civilizations with this level of technology, I wouldn't think so.
We can't disregard the fact that having your consciousness taken from your body and put into a different container can alter your wishes. It could be that if one of us was joined to this upload, we would be very happy to be there, but it seems like probably very much the opposite. It doesn't seem like a happy place to be.
but then again, if you are turned into a computer program, they could easily simply edit you.
Yeah.
True. Because if they're, like you said, if you were uploaded, you could be happy. But if you're put there unwillingly, you'd be uploaded and be fighting it somehow. I wouldn't be happy about it.
Well, the way I see it, sir, we got 3 objectives right now. We need to make certain to our satisfaction that there is no actual contagion, because we still ain't necessarily got to the bottom of all that. We got to see if we can recover our people, and if they even want to be recovered, or if they still are our people. And we got to see what we can do to help out Joe here.
Yep.
I have no idea which one we should do first, or even how.
Well, right now, I think all the roads lead to the, what do you call it, the computer room, the server room.
Well, I will say, I don't think we're going to be able to save Joe until we can get him somewhere we can talk to him in private. I think he's very much afraid of talking near all these cameras and such.
Mm-hmm.
He did say he was different from the others.
I can also probably, with effort and time, disable the security systems in a certain area. But I can't guarantee you that I can do it twice.
You know,
and I didn't want to say it out there.
What we need to do is find a men's room. Almost every culture that has surveillance doesn't put it there.
Now,
probably not a lot of speakers and cameras there.
Everything I've ever seen, every utility type tunnel that's at least that's well constructed that I've ever seen, there's always things are labeled. So are there any labels here on the walls? Because right now we need to go to the server room, but we don't know how to get there from here in this server site.
Yeah, well, just like a Jeffries tube, you're seeing like if you keep going, there's junctions that split off that go left, right, up, down, you know, kind of, again, standard Jeffries tube. You're seeing that the quote unquote computer room would be down on level 5, which is just one level below you.
All right. Well, I think the computer room's just one level down. We just have to see if we can get there. There might also be security there to prevent people from doing this thing that we're about to do.
True. So we'll put you come on up in the lead with the ensign, and we'll take the lead. That way you can help translate, get us to the door, then I'll swap out with the ensign, and then you and I will enter.
As an alternative, in case we're not
Yeah.
rushed for time, we did have access on the lift to the security level. We could potentially, if we're worried about it, disable the security system, maybe.
That might not be a half bad idea. Keep in mind, the last 4 Starfleet personnel that ran into this system ended up having their skulls carved out.
Well, also the eggs are definitely some part of the security apparatus.
Which I'm going to spend 2 threat to make that, as you make this declaration and remind the GM that he can do this. You hear the maglev, or whatever the levitation mechanism of the egg. It's coming from down the corridor where you're at currently. So you don't see the egg yet, but you hear one coming. Maybe more than one coming.
Which, since we're 2 abreast in the tunnel and it seems it's relatively narrow, which side is it coming from? Is it coming from my side or the exit?
Well, it's coming from directly ahead of you. So where I'm imagining right now is like you guys are at a juncture where you've got a ladder that goes up, a ladder that goes down, and then you've got one that goes completely forward and then back where you came from.
I'm utterly picturing him in Nostromo now.
I mean, kinda,
Suggest we fall back?
Let's head down to the server.
Okay.
All right.
All right, sir.
Go down. And then I will stay at the rear.
I need to know who has the lowest fitness and security score.
Early is going to climb down the ladder with his phaser in his teeth.
My fitness security is
13.
7 and 2.
7 to 2.
Oh, we tie.
Okay.
But you're expendable.
I need both of you to roll me a fitness security difficulty of 1 here.
AC, we don't ever say that out loud.
Okay, so Ensign Daniel is unfortunately not going to say, and neither is AC. Okay. So here's what's going to happen, and we'll go to break here in a moment, but here's what's going to happen. So Dr. Early, Dr. Early, you go first. You hop down the ladder, maybe slide down it all cool-like, and you get to floor 5 and stop. Then you look up, and what you see is Ensign Daniel and Lieutenant Commander AC both try to get down the ladder after you. And it's one of those like Three Stooges kind of situations where they bump heads into one another and fall to either side. And Commander Cole, I leave your reaction to your discretion. But unfortunately, since you failed so hard, what's going to happen is the first egg is going to come around the corner, and its Gatling gun is already spooled up. And that's where we're going to take our 5 to 10 minute break. Oh, no. So we'll be back shortly, everybody. Stick around.
Start whistling by.
All right, and welcome back to part 2 of session 5 of Star Trek Adventures Drake. If you're just joining us, well, things have gotten a little bit dark. The Starfleet personnel that the away team from the Drake has come to rescue apparently have been uploaded to some sort of a Gestalt consciousness, and there's apparently another bit of consciousness that is against the Gestalt consciousness. It's a whole thing. Long story short, computers are bad, and there's an egg coming down the corridor towards Lo, Curly, and Mo, who apparently can't even walk down a ladder. Yes, walk down a ladder. That's what you do. You know what I mean. In any event, the drone has its guns spooled up, but it's not firing. And I'm going to give everybody one action before we go into initiative order here. So who would like to go first, quote unquote, and what would your action be? All right, so Dr. Early, you raised your hand first. What would you like to do?
I wish to break the fall of the first person falling down the ladder.
Okay, you prepare an action to break the fall. Noted.
I fall.
Okay.
Succumb to gravity.
All right, Dr. Early, give me a fitness and a con, please.
Yeah.
And the difficulty here. How heavy would you say, how heavy is AC? Is he a stocky gentleman? Is he a medium-sized gentleman? Like how, just general weight.
He's probably like 190.
190. Okay. I'll make it a difficulty of 2 then.
Would survivalist matter? I don't have any athletics foci.
I'm gonna have to say no, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it did.
My survival is going to matter.
Okay, well, and we have 0 momentum. Yay.
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
So, yay. Holy cow, I did succeed, but only with 1 success.
Let me see, did it update? Yep, there you go. All right. So, I'll say you catch him, but the complication is, remember how your suit was sealed before, and then it was sealed again? You catch AC, but in the process, you cause your suit repairs to rip, and your suit is no longer sealed. Yeah.
I'm too old for this. I try to put him down.
Sorry, Doc. Guess I need to hit the gym.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Commander Cole, Ensign Daniel.
Ensign Daniel's going to try to get down the ladder.
Okay.
I don't know if that means like he's going face first or plummeting or actually managing to climb.
I'm
But
cue up my
he's trying to
Wilhelm
go
scream
down.
here.
Roll a challenge dice. Roll a challenge dice. If it's in effect, you go head first.
All right.
Okay, that is 0 successes, unfortunately, which means you just sort of fall next to the ladder. Like, you don't go down it, you don't go up it, you just sort of fall to the side.
Still laying next to the ladder.
Yep.
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble.
And then Commander Cole.
And how far away is the egg?
The egg is about, we'll call it 15 meters away.
Okay. I will drop down as well.
Okay.
Slowly going down, one hand, the phaser pointed up. If it
So
does cross,
just to be clarifying here, the ensign is on the floor next to the ladder, up where you are, Commander Cole. Only Dr.
he's
Early.
still up high.
Yes.
Ah, got it.
I mean, if you want to abandon the ensign, I'm not going to tell you no.
No,
but
I thought he
just
was
wanted
down
to
at the
clarify.
bottom.
You can't.
I mean, whose name came first in the credits? I'm just saying.
This is true.
And introducing
And
What's the credits say?
extroducing.
Special guest star.
Oh, you
So
poor
the Gatling
things.
is just spinning up.
Right, it's not firing.
We all have those friendly fire advantages, but I mean, we don't know if those worked on just that particular model drone or just a particular section of the compound. So I mean,
they probably overwritten those by now.
well, even if they haven't, like the way to discover whether or not they work is not to get shot. You know, like I mean, I'd rather test it in a laboratory environment first.
Yeah, I will position myself in front of the ensign and not fire.
You will be remembered.
Then it is now in actual initiative order. The enemy gets to go first. The A gets right up to you, Commander Cole. And then the boy's voice says, "Sorry, my old drone broke. I'm sorry." And then the Gatling gun stops spinning, recedes, and the egg seals back up. Still talking to you, but
Well, Joe, that was a little scary. I shout up the tunnel.
says, "Sorry, I'm not really good at this."
You can be very bounce between the different robotic forms with ease.
I guess I can sort of do that. Yeah.
Do you have a body at all, or are you inside a ghost in the machine?
Like all the others, I used to have a body, but the upload process kind of destroyed the body in the process. Really only the bodies of your friends are intact. I'm sure that if you were to find the stasis pod that I started in, you might find, I don't know, remains. I don't like thinking about it.
No need to think about something unpleasant, says Early as he's climbing the ladder towards Joe. So if you was uploaded like everybody else, then what is it that makes you different?
Well, do you know the name Tanner Cole?
Do I know?
And here's where we see if people took notes last session.
I do not have a Tanner Cole written down. It does strike me as vaguely familiar.
Was it
My
the guy that
family
we
name's
picked up?
Cole.
The injured guy?
No, that's Stoltz.
No, that's
Yeah, the Janik Stoltz. This is a person who was on the manifest or something.
Tell you what, why don't you give me, whoever wishes to try this, and this will just be a free momentum gain for all of you. Anybody who wants to roll can do let's call this a fitness and a science. I think that's probably the best way to handle do you remember.
Got 10 and a 1.
I got a 7 and a 4.
I'll give it a
7
shot.
3.
I'll give it a shot. Would psychiatry matter?
No, it wouldn't, but it's a good thought.
I try to have good thoughts.
Well, there's your one success, which is all you needed. Yeah, actually, now that you think about it, Tanner Cole, he was the guy that built the vault. He was in that advertisement.
Oh, from the ad for the
Mhm.
vault. Yeah, the originator of this facility, right?
Yeah, he got all the wealthy people inside because it was a special people's vault, and then my dad and I, we were just supposed to keep everything running, but my dad saw the writing on the wall, and he broke into level 5 and uploaded me. But when Tanner Cole found out, he killed all the remaining employees.
Well, Joe, that's a terrible thing, but you need to remember, of course, that was his decision and not the result of anything you did.
I hope so, because otherwise, all those people, it's my fault.
Definitely not your fault. All right. Well, I think I'm beginning to understand the lay of the land here.
Are you separate from the consciousness? Do you interact with them at all? Or are you on the run from them?
I like that analogy, running. Yes, I am always running from them.
But they are compelled to, or they are able to compel you to continue maintaining this place?
It's not so much that I am maintaining this place. It's more like they are running things and I am running, floating in these spaces. And the egg does like a 360 as if to indicate the service corridors.
I duck under the Gatling gun as it swings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe, I can understand why it is that you would want to be freed from this this state of existence, but I do not believe that euthanizing you is the solution. There is almost certainly a way we can connect you to a different system, perhaps even the systems of our starship, where you can exist somewhere where you're happier and able to fulfill your interests, you know, curiosity, reading books, watching movies, listening to music, without anybody hunting for you.
I mean that sounds wonderful, but you shouldn't try to contact your ship. Not down here.
Because of whatever this malicious stuff is in the software, right?
Correct. The consciousness will take over your ship.
That's them. They're
them,
trying to
yes.
escape too and using
Yes.
us to do it.
Yes. That I think that is why they experimented on your friends.
As bait. Oh, that's low. Those were just researchers. They didn't mean no harm.
And what do you know of a plague?
A plague.
Our researchers, we got reports of a plague on the planet.
It erupted shortly after they uncovered your facility, they claim.
And the egg kind of like twitches a little bit, like it falters in the air, and then the Joe says back, I think that was just a ruse.
Wild goose pox. That's what I thought.
Night pox.
Well, we're going to
But,
have to figure out a way to get this consciousness to have less influence over everything around here. Sooner or later, the Drake's going to send someone looking for us, and then they'll contact the ship, and the ship will be in danger.
Well, I mean, if you want to rescue your friends, I know one of them, Patal. I think there's a backup copy of his original upload that kept separate, but you would have to go to level 5 to physically access it.
Is there any danger on level 5 we should be aware of?
Yes, many drones like this one. Only your passes will not work. In fact, the only reason I knew this was you is because you had the passes.
Well, sir, I'm stumped. What should we do?
What about security? Up on level 2.
Well, your
There are drones there?
passes. Well, yeah, there's drones there, but your passes should allow you to get into level 2, no problem. It's only level 5 and below that is kept more tightly.
Is there a way we can disconnect all the security drones?
Destroy the main computer?
Wouldn't that destroy you and the consciousness?
Yes, that would be the problem with that.
Let's avoid going quite so extreme.
So there's no way to. So is there? Can you imagine some way for us to sever the main computer's control over the security systems? I think that's where,
Or even just the drones on
that's
level
where the
5.
XO was headed.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's got to communicate with them somehow.
Well, you might be able to override the drones and the security systems from the security level, but you would only have maybe 5-10 minutes before the consciousness found a way around it. This facility was built very well, unfortunately.
So we need to split up.
Now, this is one of those drones too. Do I think there would be any way for us to ride along with Joe and have Joe kind of mask our presence, or use the hardware in that drone to create a dead zone?
Only insight and engineering difficulty of 3. Also, I would say that someone in chat actually has a good idea.
Oh. Usually they're trying to have us destroyed with the complications.
I see it. That's an interesting idea.
It is.
Hit the gem, not the doctor. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Nope. Can't think of any way to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say nothing's coming to mind, AC, unfortunately.
Well, I'll propose chat's idea then. Joe,
Yes?
I have a device here. It's a computer.
Oh,
Would
it's like the ones the consciousness that they tried to jump into before.
That's
So
why
that's
they
what
exploded.
happened.
Yeah,
Well-
they tried to upload themselves anywhere that wasn't the main computer.
Would you be able to put yourself in this?
I could try.
If it doesn't work, then we have one more tricorder down. We'll have only one.
Before we do that, you have full control of this drone, Joe?
Yes?
Would the consciousness be able to take it over from you?
If we went to level 5, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to risk putting Joe in contact with that consciousness. That could turn out very badly.
Is there a way for you to get a message to the consciousness? We've been trying to communicate with them. All we want to do is rescue our personnel and then leave, and we will help them and you if maybe if they want to leave, we can help them do that, but in a safe way for them and us.
Well, that might work on someone, an entity that isn't insane, but they are absolutely mental. They don't think logically. They want to escape by any means necessary, and it's been a very, very long time since they've had a chance like this. So they are not thinking clearly, on top of being insane.
In the absence, sir, of the a well-framed ego with demarcations around it and its own sense of identity, it's all probably it at this point. It's all probably hunger and rage. I can.
You might have heard them speak before. The many voices at once. That was them.
That and some cackling.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when you say that, you hear echoing down the corridor back from the medical bay. You hear kind of an echoing, "Where did you go?" in like thunderous sort of multiple voices at once.
Sounds like the clock's ticking, sir. My suggestion is we split up. We send somebody to the security level, then somebody down to level 5 as soon as they've cleared the way. We recover that back up and see if there's a way we can turn off this thing without hurting Joe.
We're going to need translation on either end.
Yeah.
So I need to go with one and Joe needs to go with the other.
Well, now.
Do you think you've got more? Do you think you've got any knowledge or information that might help people working on the main computer?
No, not really. I wasn't really big into computers, which is funny because I'm part of one. But maybe I should go with you to security.
I think that would be safer for you rather than putting you near the level 5 security systems.
Okay.
But that is volunteering you, Carlin. What do you think?
I'll do what's necessary to help save our people, sir.
So what do you think, Commander? You and Carlin, level 5, me and AC, security office?
I was actually thinking you down to the med bay, or the control room if the bodies are down there, and that you'd be the one to assess if we can reintegrate them or not, and AC up with me. Well, I'll take the ensign and me up to security. You, AC, and Joe go down below and see what we can do with the security, with the server room. And as soon as we get upstairs taken care of, I have a feeling if we turn security off, you will know.
Yes, sir. All right.
Okay.
If we should not meet again, it has been a privilege.
Been an honor, Doc.
All right. So you split up, you go up and down the service corridors to the respective areas. We're going to focus very briefly on level 5 people because I sort of want to set the scene for you all before we go to security. So when you sort of peek your head out of the service corridors into level 5, what you're seeing is in the middle there is a server tower full of screens and sort of like a mainframe you would find in today's world, just literally floor to ceiling, with cables that connect to hundreds of egg-shaped stasis pods that go pretty much almost like a, well, I mean, to use an alien reference, almost like a hive of alien eggs. They're just everywhere in the space around the server tower. But what's probably most important for you all is not so much the server tower or the stasis pods, as it is the 4 surgical chairs on which you do see the bodies of the 4 missing outpost personnel. And now that you have more than just a static image to look at, you can confirm that, again, their skulls have been opened up and multiple cables are leading from their skulls to the server tower. And if that wasn't bad enough, you're also seeing that there are multiple egg drones that are sort of floating around the area. And you see, if it wasn't disturbing enough, there is what appears to be some form of an android, but it's not covered, as in you see the raw servos, the raw mechanisms. And if that wasn't bad enough, it literally has like a flesh face that looks like it was added as an afterthought. And I think that's pretty much all I can say without getting into the gruesome details.
Time out.
Terminator.
I think Sambe was telling us what Commander Cole's plan was, and I think I misheard something. You are taking, did you say you were taking the ensign to the security room? We should probably swap that, because if you remember, Joe said if he went down to level 5, they could take over his drone body.
Oh, okay.
So we should probably bring the ensign with us if that's okay. I would have raised that objection, but I misheard.
No, if you guys want to retcon that real quick, it's very easy to do. Yeah, all that's right. What you see in level 5.
For it to stop moving. Then we'll know they've disabled it or disrupted it, and we'll have to move very fast. I will check the people in the chairs. You check the system and see if you can find the backups of at least some of their minds. Start with the Vulcan Patal, right?
It's you, Ensign.
Okay, I'll follow whichever one of you wants to start first.
All right.
So that's
I
level
wait to
5.
Yeah, I wait to see if the security systems on level 5 go bzz, or something along those lines.
All right, well, thank you for that momentum from chat. So we go up to level 5, or not level 5, we go up to level 2, where Commander Cole and Lieutenant Commander AC and Joe, as it were, you poke your head inside, and what you see is that it's a hexagonal-shaped room. The walls are covered in monitors. It's almost like a I forget the official term, but kind of like in a casino where it's kind of like a control room, or like the stereotypical military installation where it's just a bunch of people at desks.
Panopticon?
And yeah, there you go. That's the word I wanted. You're also seeing that there are some locked cages with primitive projectile weaponry. There are also 2 egg drones that are currently active, and even when you poke your head in and if you were to step out, the egg drones don't do anything. They just continue floating, doing nothing, all things considered.
I will let the veteran XO step out first.
All right. Here we go. And into the room.
All right. Drones don't do anything. They just continue standing there or floating there.
I will also come out into the room.
Okay. Still nothing. And then Joe comes in behind you and says, like I said, the passes you have work on these.
For now.
Though, I will warn you, if you mess up in disabling the systems, they're probably going to shoot us all.
I figured that.
Is there a way to turn them off? Here we found a creature out of the livestock room that was actually some type of animatronic.
Oh, that was the consciousness's first attempt to escape. Yeah, that was. I think they took one of the groks and sliced it up, and that's not important. Yes, there is a. Oh, well, that's good. Maybe.
Do you have one inside this body that you're in? We could use that on these two, perhaps.
No, but I can say that there is a turn-off handle inside each egg, but you would only be able to do it on one drone before the other responded.
Let's give it a shot and see if we can disable them through the systems.
AC will let you do that, and then Joe, when I open fire on the other drone, can you open fire as well?
Yeah, I can do that. All right. So AC.
Yes.
This is going to be a very difficult task, as I said earlier. And Joe is doing his best to translate and walk you through it, but here's what you're looking at here. You're looking at a difficulty of 5. To make matters worse, you're in an EV suit and dealing with an untranslated language, or at least not a fully translated language, which means the complication range is a 18 to 20 on this one. You have 1 momentum remaining. I'm actually out of complications that I can throw at you. I think I've used all the ones that chat gave me. So you could add to threat here. I'm not going to necessarily throw it back in your face, but just be aware, the more threat you give me, the more I can throw at anybody.
No, I know, but I think that is the only real option we have at this point.
Yep.
I do have an engineering toolkit. Will that assist me in this matter?
I would say that's what makes this possible. Now, You don't have your engineering tricorder, which would have definitely lowered the difficulty, but your other tools will assist you in this.
Okay, but not reduce the difficulty. They are
Correct.
making it available.
Correct. Yeah, sometimes your equipment just makes things possible.
So 2 threat or 5 threat?
Well, it would be 1 momentum, 2 threat for 4 dice, and it would be 5 threat, 1 momentum for 6 or for 5 dice.
Yep, that's me asking.
Have your
These
determination.
folks. Huh?
Do you still have
He's
your
out.
determination?
Nope.
He used it
I
earlier.
used it to give us momentum.
Burned it last session.
And most of my values are about not giving up. So to go against them would be to give up.
That is a difficult question. But 5 is a bigger number, and I think that's awesome. So.
It is a larger number, and complications make the game fun.
They
But-
do.
True. I have a backup plan if we need it.
I have a backup character if we need it.
I'm playing a supporting character.
Special appearance by.
So thoughts? We doing the Okay.
You gotta go for the 3. You gotta get 5. So at a minimum, you need 3 dice.
There we go.
All right. Let's see what happens.
Oh, would you like this to be a daring engineering?
Yes, daring engineering. Sorry, I should have clarified.
Nope, no worries.
Cross all the fingers and toes.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It's either going to be like 7 successes or it'll be like 4 complications. That's generally how these work.
All right.
Okay. Well, that is 7 successes as I predicted, though that is 2 complications.
Another complication.
Oh, 1 complication. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do get 2 momentum back. And I think what's going to happen is, you shut off the security systems. The complication is going to be you also shut off Joe's drone in the process. So you lose your method of translation, you lose your method of interfacing with Joe, but you do sort of buy time for those on level 5, because what happens on level 5 is all the drones short out and fall to the floor. The main terminal begins to sort of siren, sort of an air raid siren with a flashing red light, but there's nothing to stop you from running in and doing whatever you need to do at this point.
AC, do whatever you can do to. Wait, so you knocked out all the drones because we were just going for the one of the 2 that were there, but
You knocked out all of them across the entire facility, yes.
I would like to create an advantage, if I may.
Sure, you
Chad
have
has
the
a
2
good
momentum
idea.
to do it.
Yeah.
I have a really good idea for one.
Here, listen to mine, and then I'll.
Yeah, no.
My
your
thought
successes,
process is
bro.
I would like to, as the very last step in my process, to have made this not just a one-time thing, but a process that will kind of spiral out of control, forcing the AI to waste resources, attempting to restore control, thereby helping, making it less likely that it can do things to stop the people downstairs.
A morphogenic computer virus. Yeah, I can see it.
Could I make a counter suggestion?
Please.
What if the advantage was as his only available body in the room shuts down, Joe leaps into Cole's tricorder?
That also is something that could happen.
It being the only other independent computer around.
Now I could pose a counter advantage.
Yeah, those are your points, man. You're the
No, well, if it has to jump into a body, what's the only non-drone body that exists? The android thing.
Do you really want to put Joe in that, though?
Did we actually shut it down, though? I think it's probably
It's not
still
part of the
alive.
security system. I doubt very seriously it's part of security.
But we are putting him down on level 5. Which
No,
could
what
be
I
a
mean is,
problem.
like, I bet that thing is still being driven by the Gestalt. Like, you know
No,
what I
that's
mean?
true.
Yeah, I don't think we've done anything to rattle its cage yet.
And
So
Cole wasn't carrying a tricorder.
that was my other thought. He probably didn't have one.
I guess I'm the only tricorder right
And
now.
you're
You
on
ain't-
level
and
5.
you ain't there, so
Nope.
okay.
I'm
Point to be moved.
downstairs.
Morphogenic computer virus, it is.
We'll have to catch up with Joe later.
If we didn't just kill him, yes.
All right.
So, that all happens. The computer you've bought yourself some time. An undetermined amount of time, but a significant amount of time. Which, again, Dr. Early and Ensign Daniel, you both see the warning lights start flashing, the drones all cut off. The only thing that is moving is the android body, and it doesn't really seem to care about anything going on. Like, even if you start running in, it doesn't make any movements to stop you.
After AC's momentous success, do we have any momentum?
No, that the last
Because I use
two
them to great
momentum-
advantage.
Yeah.
Yep, just checking. Let's move. Go. I leap towards the 4 chairs, starting with the Vulcan Petals, and see what I can do about reversing the upload to push their consciousness back into their bodies without
And
killing them.
Ensign Daniel is going to try to go back and forth between the one computer trying to find Patal's consciousness as well as helping Early translate.
So we'll start with the ensign because I think he's kind of the linchpin here. I need
Very
you to
much
roll
so.
me a reason or insight plus engineering, difficulty of 3, to discern where this independent backup is, if it even exists.
Would my linguistics help?
It actually would, yes, because this is an alien system and an alien language. It definitely would.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna help. Okay.
All right. Well, you do get 2 out of the 3 successes required. So, well, wait a second. What is your engineering score?
It's a 1.
I was gonna say yeah, because that's a 2 rolled. So, let's say you succeed with a complication here.
Yeah.
So you do find. Oh, this is real evil. Yeah, you know what, GM, you've committed me to go even more evil. So the complication is going to be, yeah, you find the backup where Patal's consciousness is stored. The problem is, that's also where Joe's consciousness is stored. And to make matters worse, your tricorder only has room for one of them.
Hey, Doc.
Yep.
I found Patal.
All right. Great
I
job.
also found Joe.
Wonderful work.
They're
Excellent
in
work.
the same place.
Huh?
They're stored in the same memory bank, the same location.
I might need you to break that down into Dr. Early speak for me. What does that mean practically?
So, to move them, I have to use my tricorder.
Right.
I can only fit one.
Huh.
So we could potentially try to do one at a time and move Patal first and upload his consciousness. But then that leaves Joe in a predicament. We don't know for sure if we can get Patal back into his own body, unless you've determined whether or not it's still viable.
What I would say, Dr. Early, to help you out on this decision, you could do it. It would be an extended task, though, and time would very much be a factor. And
We're
again,
gonna have to try.
You don't know how much time AC's bought you, but
Wow.
Phew.
All right. Bring me to Paul as fast as possible. Thank you. I try to laser focus on what I'm doing then. There's
All right.
no room for mistake.
So, this, again, is going to be an extended task, but we are going to hyper-focus on the amount of intervals of time it takes to complete. Now, I think I may have mentioned this when we did an extended task before, but now that time is very much crucial. Every time you attempt an extended task, 2 intervals of time happen. Now, what is an interval of time? It's kind of nebulous. It could be anywhere between 5 seconds to 5 minutes or 5 hours. You know, it's kind of a thing here. What I'm going to say is it's 5 minutes in this instance. So each interval is 5 minutes, meaning each attempt you make at the extended task is 10 minutes. Now, you can spend 1 momentum or 1 threat to reduce that interval down to 1, meaning you only spend 5 minutes to do it. But you have to do that before any dice are rolled on the extended task attempt. So it's kind of one of those, do I feel lucky? And I might have quoted Dirty Harry if I was in a better mood, but I can't do a Dirty Harry voice right now. So what you're looking at is a daring and a medicine. And
Daring's like Early's worst stat too.
Yeah, I was going to say. So you're looking at a daring medicine. The difficulty is going to be a 4. And let me type out the other things. So it is a work track of 12. In fact, let me do this so I can see what I'm doing. So it's a track of 12. You're going to need 4 breakthroughs to succeed, meaning the magnitude is 4. The difficulty, as I said, is also a 4. And, because again, this is very risky, I'm going to say there's 1 resistance, meaning that one of your work potentially done on a success is going to be taken off. So you basically lose 1 work done, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you are looking at a daring medicine here.
Some momentum.
Can Daniel assist at all in this, or
You can, yes. You may assist with your What is your medicine score?
3.
You may assist with your, let's call this fitness and medicine, because you are literally playing relay back and forth. So this is you keeping your wind about you.
Yes.
Okay. And you said I could reduce it to 5 minutes by spending 1 threat now?
Correct.
Giving. I would like to do that.
Okay, so it'll only be
Otherwise, it seems
5
like
minutes.
the possibility of succeeding is almost nothing.
Mhm.
All right, so I can't buy any dice though. So I've got.
Well, you could buy more with threat. You would just literally fill up my threat pool, is what would happen.
Well,
Right,
The
let's
ensign
see.
does not assist you, unfortunately.
I could buy a 1 die with threat then, right?
You can
to
buy as
fill
many
it.
as you want. It's just a lot of threat.
Let me buy 1. So I'll roll 3 dice.
Okay.
All right, folks, cross your fingers.
Well, that is 3 successes, but not the requisite 4, unfortunately.
And I'm out of rerolls.
So, I think what's going to happen then, unless you have a way to reroll something, and no, supporting
No, I
characters,
can't
not
do that.
assistant, can't reroll their dice. Well, some people have a special talent to do that, but
Not
most
me.
assistants can't. Yeah, I think what's going to happen, Dr. Early, is you work for 5 minutes trying to get, you're trying to get Patal back in his own head. It's just not working. The body is intact, more or less, but it's been dead for 3 days at best. And you're trying to jumpstart a car which just doesn't have a capable battery. I mean, you can keep trying, but the outlook is very grim, is what I would tell you.
Dang it. Come on, work with me, boy. Early seems very frustrated and upset. After 5 minutes, do we start getting shot at?
Well, I'm going to let Commander Cole do the honors. Commander Cole, if you would roll me 1
You're
challenge
gonna let
dice,
Cole shoot
please.
us?
If you roll an effect, the drones reactivate.
Oh.
And what I'm going to tell you is that every 5 minutes that pass, we're going to add to the challenge dice pool.
So 1 challenge die.
All right. Drones are not attacking you yet.
Since 5 minutes have passed, can we come back down? Since Joe is down, there's nothing we can do here.
I would say if you want to start sliding down the Jeffries tube and the service corridors, you can. You will arrive in the next 5 minutes. So at the 10-minute mark, you will arrive.
Sorry, sir, we're going to have to take this slow, lest I fall down ladders again.
Let me go first. You follow up. That way, if you do fall, I can break it.
If you
Hopefully.
insist, sir.
Yeah. We start going down. That would be a little bit of speed.
But yeah, Doc Early and good ensign. You want to try again?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to add another threat, please.
Okay, so it'll only take 5 minutes again. The ensign still is not helping you, unfortunately.
Useless.
And 1 more threat for dice.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
And you're going to hate me for this, but I think the
Worse.
complication is going to be that not only does your failure not, your attempt does not work again, you lose his brain pattern. It is poof into the wind.
I just wasn't quick enough.
And that's about when AC and Cole show up.
We're going to call official record time of death. Timestamp now. Ensign, do you still have Joe?
I can get him.
And we don't have backups for any of the rest of the crew, right? Or the rest of the Starfleet personnel.
Not that I've seen, no.
Is there any reason we can't just leave him on the tricorder?
Patal?
No,
Or Joe?
Joe. I think I've messed up Patal's pattern completely.
I don't think there's a reason why Joe can't be on the tricorder.
Are there any of the other surviving members of the team?
No, sir.
Their brain patterns?
Their
Nothing.
bodies are clinically dead, and we were unable to find any backups of them, I'm afraid.
I
We
know
did
I'm not-
find Patal, but I was unable to transfer him in time before his neural synaptic relays and his overall, what's called the connectome, deteriorated.
Doc, is
Our
that a-
intervention did it.
Is it a medical problem or a computer problem?
Both. I corrupted the data that we were transferring in, but also his actual neurological framework. But here's my thought. If Joe's in Carlin's tricorder right now, what's to stop us from turning off this dang computer and exercising this demon that killed these people?
That's still a living, thinking
It's a rabid dog,
consciousness.
sir, with respect.
Pardon my ignorance of computer systems, but couldn't we just reboot it?
Doc, do you think there's brains in those eggs?
It hadn't occurred to me to check. Almost certainly they wouldn't be preserved at this point, but we might as well check. I don't have a tricorder to do it with, though, so we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way.
And ultimately, does it matter? Even if we allow
You're good. Continue on.
even if we allow people to come back, or even if we leave it running, we'd have to put the whole system under warranty.
Yeah,
Well,
we don't have a lot of time.
my thought is if they are even simulating consciousness, they must be able to have memories and their personalities must be able to evolve. So rebooting won't restore them to their original state.
That's my thought. It's because the organic components exist. I mean, they're whatever
Even if they ain't organic, they must be growing and changing over time.
Is there an obvious terminal in this room?
There is.
I've been using a terminal, so
Yeah. Move
I'm-
quick now. These things are going to turn on and we're standing right in front of them.
I am in the process of pulling Joe out of the computer while this
Yep.
is going on. So it's,
Let me know when you're done, sir. I feel like we've got to take this down.
That's my recommendation as well, sir.
Now, Commander Cole, I'm just going to maybe point out the obvious. If you put the phaser high enough,
It's also something that we can handle with photons from the Drake if need be.
well, that's the thing, is that if you have your distances in mind roughly, you would have to blow up an entire mountain to get to this.
Well, plus it'd be, I'm worried about contacting the Drake while this thing's still conscious, because I mean, it's going to find a way to worm into our
Yeah.
comms.
I need to shut it down before we take any other steps.
Roger,
All right.
Permission to take it down,
Do it.
sir?
do it.
All right. So to be very clear here, AC, you are shutting down or terminating?
Oh, I'm terminating.
Just wanted to be sure.
Assuming that Carlin's done.
Yeah, that's why I said, tell me when you're
you,
done.
You can pull Joe off. All right. So, since we're almost coming up on a hard stop here, what I'll tell you is you have a choice where you can either completely just terminate the program, burn out the consoles, burn out the servers, and be done with it. Or, and this is a big or,
Mhm.
or since this is an alien race and all the researchers that knew about this alien race are in the consciousness, you could attempt to pull something, some record, something from the computer that would let their culture continue on. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like you either leave with Joe and nothing, or you leave with Joe and a record of whatever the hell these people were.
Well, I have made my opinion on this clear.
I don't know that I can entrust this insane thing with the possibility of escape.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have Joe yet?
yeah, I have Joe.
Ultimately, sir, it's your call. I'll stand by your decision, even if it's under review later on by Starfleet.
my thought process is actually to first disable all communication systems and then set the facility's reactor to overload, so that the entire facility will be destroyed.
So, I don't think a roll is going to be required for this. You know how to overload a reactor, and it's not even hard with the good ensign or Joe translating for you.
Well, and I also want to disable the communication systems entirely first, so it can't try and do a last-ditch effort to beam itself off the planet.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
So you disable comms, you set the reactor to overload. There's kind of a quick montage of you running back to the lift, and the lift goes up, and then you run through that corridor, and then you get to the Starfleet lift, and you go up, and you just begin to hear muffled explosions as the lift continues to rise and rise and rise. You get to the very top. At this point, the explosions are getting louder and louder and louder. You run out into the main Starfleet facility. You grab Stoltz. You then run outside. Or would you run to the transporter pad, I guess is the question. Would you run outside of the facility, or would you run to the transporter pad and beam out from there?
Outside the facility, probably, because I've disabled all signals out.
Yeah, and the reactor overloading might cause some panel or pipe to burst in the facility.
Oh yeah, like there's panels falling, there's regulation rocks spewing out, there's sparks, there's wires dangling all over the place. It's the cinematic runaway from explosion time.
Slow-mo.
Slow-mo, not looking behind you.
Yeah.
So you run outside, and you run just far enough that when the explosion comes out of the mouth of the facility, that you are in the safe zone, you are not affected by it. But as you sort of sit there on the icy plains and look at the charred remains of what was the Starfleet outposts, Captain Thalen, you've been trying to reach the away team for a good 6 hours, and they haven't said a damn thing, but now they're back on comms.
Okay, so obviously your communicator chirps. Captain Thalen to away team, please respond.
Commander Cole, sir.
So we need to get the dock to sickbay now. Excuse me, sir. Forgive me.
Commander, situation.
Real short down and dirty. We found a alien facility underneath. We had to destroy it. I'll explain more. We have one member of the research team with us that's alive, injured severely, and one member from an alien race inside a tricorder.
Transporter room, one to beam up. Beam the doctor to sickbay.
Yeah.
And my suit's compromised that I'm freezing to death.
And the injured.
Yeah, I literally drew my communicator, called the transporter room.
They got you. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you freeze to death because of order operations. Don't worry. You get beamed out in time. Don't worry.
All right. Bridge to transporter room, beam the rest of the away team up.
Done, sir. I have the doctor and the patient in sickbay, and the rest are in transporter room 2.
Excellent. Commander, I will meet you down in sickbay. I want all of you to have a thorough once-over. All of your equipment also needs to be checked.
And it appears the information on a plague was a ruse by computer semi-AI.
Okay.
And
So I don't have to have a medical decon is what I'm hearing?
I still want to do one just in case the ruse was a ruse of a ruse.
Okay.
But they know that I know that they know that I know.
The
All
dreaded
right, so
quadruple ruse.
Transporter room, full decontamination procedures.
Aye, sir. And those of you in the transporter room, a force field erects onto the pad and keeps you in there. But yeah, long story short, as much as I'm tempted to spend all the threat you gave me and make things worse for you, I think you kind of created your own problem there, so I don't think I need to harp on anymore. But long story short, your decon goes fine. You don't have to worry about the Gestalt consciousness following you up. You do have Joe, though, and I guess the homework, and whoever does the next opening log, you need to tell me what you guys do with Joe, whether it's keep it, pass it on to the Daystrom Institute, whatever. But whoever does the next opening log, you're going to probably have a lot of weight in that. But yeah, that is going to be the end of Session 5. And I do want to give a quick shout out to the Strange New Worlds mission compendium that Modifius put out. This has been Plato's Cave. So if you want to run this adventure with your own group, it is Plato's Cave in the Strange New Worlds mission compendium. Though, as you probably can tell if you go and read this adventure, I took a lot of creative liberties in how things were handled. But yeah, this is where I'm going to end the recording for YouTube. Twitch, stick around, but YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.